I'm driving down this street in Hollywood, and I look over, and Kevin Parker is walking down the street. I was immediately like, holy shit. So I scurry across the street and just start like jogging towards him. And I get up to him and I was like, hey, like I'm actually going to work on this album soon. And a lot of your techniques and the way you did lonerism have inspired me. I watch all the videos on how you record. And he's like, oh man, don't worry about that. Just plug it in and go for it.
Hey guys, you're listening to Uncool. I'm Elizabeth Chikadis, and this is a show where I talk to musicians about the craft of making music. This episode is with Patrick Martin, a musician who already has a few singles out that I absolutely love, and he just finished writing his debut album and documented that whole process on Instagram. In this episode, we talk about how he got started, his influences, some of the difficult aspects of the creative process over the years, and now that he's recording this album and getting ready to put it out into the world, we talked about how fulfilling it is to complete a project like this and how he found his voice through doing it. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
Thank you so much for making time for this today.
It's my first podcast, so I'm honored.
I think I found you on Instagram. I think it was Dandelion Eyes. Like, heard that little clip and love it. Went and sought it out. And then in the last year or so, you've shared so much of this, like creating an album in the woods of Wisconsin.
The madness.
Are you in LA right now?
I am.
But that's kind of home too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've lived in LA for like 8 years. I moved from Wisconsin. I moved out here, chasing the dream kind of thing. And so, yeah, this is very much home. It is weird. I haven't been back for like a year. Well, I've been back once, but I haven't spent this. I was only back for like 10 days. So it's nice to be back for months now. And I'm most likely moving back here. But yeah, it is definitely home. I'm staying with friends. I'm seeing all of my people. It's been really nice.
Awesome. In the last couple days after we scheduled this, I saw, were you hanging out with Walter of the Walters?
Believe it or not, that is where I'm staying.
I didn't even know the connection.
He's literally in the other room.
Wow. I grew up in the Chicagoland area. Went to
so you definitely know of the Walters gang.
I remember seeing them at Lincoln Hall in probably 2015 or 2016.
Pre-breakup.
Yes, I can claim to be
before all fan. that chaos happened.
And now they're kind of back, so that's awesome. Anyway, that's your buds.
Yeah, it's amazing. We met through my ex. She was friends with them, and then I became friends with them, and then yeah, I mean, we've been friends for ages now, and they're the most classic, the most wonderful Midwestern folk. Even though it's weird because Walt and Charlie, who I'm closest with, are not from the Midwest, but they feel the most like the Midwest, which is kind of ironic. Yeah, I mean, they're like my best friends. So I really am so happy to be back and with them.
I didn't know you guys had a connection. I was just talking to someone about, like, when I was young, I felt like, in movies and things, people always, like, the world is such a small place and people bump into each other at coffee shops. That doesn't happen in real life. But when you find your niche, then it does. Within the music world, people overlap in unexpected ways all the time.
Yeah, and I think that the longer you're in it, the smaller it starts to feel. Like, you kind of start to work with people who have all, like, everyone's kind of, like, aware of everyone else. Like, and it happens in any sort of, when you're in any sort of community. So I'm sure in Chicago, there's that kind of familial vibe. And then since I've been in LA for a long time, like, everyone knows everyone to an extent once you get to kind of like a certain place. And also LA is weird. Like, the way you meet people. I used to work at the Apple store, and I met literally some of my best friends. I met my friend who drums for me. Him and I worked together at the Apple store. One of my best friends who I was with yesterday, he came into the Apple store as just a customer, and then we started talking about music, and then we've been best friends since. Your group, you find your people pretty easily.
Yeah, the Apple Store must be a hub for creative types. My brother is a
Oh,
musician.
absolutely.
Yeah, he after school he moved to Nashville with friends, and they all kind of did their music thing together. And a couple of them worked at the Apple Store, and yeah,
It's the perfect, like, it's a real job. I mean, every job is a real job. I don't mean to minimize anyone's work, but it is a job that pays well enough, and it's a really good job. There's all
Yeah.
these benefits and everything, but it feels like the perfect kind of halfway point of like, okay, I'm being responsible. I'm working so that I can pay my bills, but I'm also working with a bunch of other creative people who are ambitious, and it doesn't feel like, signing up. It's not a big corporate job where it's like, okay, I'm signing up for the next 40 years of my life kind of thing. It feels like there's a lot of people who use this as a temporary kind of in-between job.
yeah.
Um,
I think that's key, and I mean, something to do with hours and flexibility, but also just the expectation of like, I've had jobs where it felt like that takes all of your mental energy, and if you've got other
yeah,
ambitions, then it's a drag.
yeah, exactly. And I think that, yeah, it breeds. Oh my God, in LA. So they transferred. The reason I could even move to LA was because they would transfer me there. That was my plan from the beginning, was like get a job in Milwaukee back home and then transfer to LA so that I would have a job there when I moved, so I wouldn't be like searching for one when I got there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of a big part of my story.
So let's get into that. Did you grow up in the Milwaukee area then?
Yeah, so I grew up like 30 miles, 25 miles north of Milwaukee in a little town called Saukville. It's like 4,000 people. And yeah, I went to school there. I went to university at Marquette in Milwaukee. And I mean, it's a lovely place to be from if you discount all the racism and bigotry.
Other than that.
Other than that, yeah.
I grew up kind of right between Chicago and Milwaukee, and I felt like for a while when I was looking for bands to go see when I lived at home with my parents, more often than not, the bands I wanted to see were going to Milwaukee, not Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, saw a lot at like the Eagles Club. And
Iconic.
yeah, of course.
The rave is the best.
And what's the one? Is it like the Turner Ballroom downtown?
Turner Hall, yeah.
Turner Hall.
Turner Hall. Cactus Club is like the really like small, grungy one that I just did a show there, and it's like,
Cool.
it feels like what you want as like kind of early stages artist, like that like dirty, like small venue where you just like everyone, I don't know how to describe it. It feels like the first clubs that all good bands start in.
Uh-huh. When did you get into music?
Yeah, I have played guitar since I was 8.
Early start.
And yeah, and I should be really good, but I'm actually horrible. I think about like what it is about music. It's just one of those things that has always been like magic to me. I think that I always used it as like a safe thing in a way to feel present, because I had really debilitating anxiety in most of my childhood. So I was always anxious. I couldn't go to school. It was really bad. And so playing my instrument and singing, it like literally, my brain could not do anything else. It was so in the moment. And like with perspective, I think that's why it became so special to me and why I became so obsessed with it, because it was an escape. It was like a moment of calm and peace from my anxiety. And then I learned that girls liked guitar, like people who could play guitar and sing. And that then became the new reason to like, oh, this is
We'll keep it
this
going.
is kind of cool. Yeah. In all transparency, I would love to just say like, oh, it's all about the art. But you know what? That is my story. It is true.
No, I respect that, because I think there's no creative thing I've been interested in where I mean, I'm with you that to some extent it's like, oh, I enjoy doing this thing and I would maybe do it anyway, but there's often a part of me that thinks, and I want to see massive success from it if possible. I want it to
of
lead to connecting with
course.
other people. And
It's human. I think today people are we're all very, very hyper aware of what we say and like being PC and trust me, I want to be perceived as a wonderful human being. But I also think that it's almost like it's gotten to the point of like me saying that, oh, I didn't get girls when I was young, so I thought this would help. Somehow people think that that's, I don't know, yucky or whatever. And it's like, but I was a 14-year-old boy. Like,
Yeah.
of course that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have no problem just like being transparent with my motivations because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, that's why they started, or that's why they kept going, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people aren't that open about like, it's fine to do it with the hope of connecting with people. Even later on,
Exactly.
you make friends,
Exactly.
form community through it.
Oh, one, obviously, like, nothing is like it's a sliver of it. It's not, there's so much more. If it's only to connect with people, get girls, have like people fawn over you, that's not enough, at least in my opinion. I think that above all, it's like truly something I still am in love with and I still get excited to do every time I'm working.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything is complex. There's always so many reasons to do something.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you started doing music at a young age, kept doing it when you were still in the Milwaukee area. Were you pretty young when you moved to LA?
Yeah, I was, so it was just out of, it's like 20, was I 23 or 24, something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I moved out here without really knowing anyone. I had one friend from college who was out here like writing, like as a like script writer, that kind of thing. So yeah, other than that, he was the only person I knew. And I moved out here with a friend who I literally text a month prior to moving. It was like, hey, I need a roommate in LA. Do you want to move out here? So she said, yeah, sure. And most of my relationships were formed at the Apple store and through trying to get into the world and get into the scene here.
Sure. Well, you've put out several singles over the last few years, right? And I saw that Lean In was used on a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Ransom Canyon.
That was a nice moment. I don't think I've never had anything on Netflix before, so that was fun.
That is exciting. You've worked with really cool producers. Before I get into what you're working on right now, what made you go back to Wisconsin and decide to, you were like in a cabin in the woods, right? Working on an album?
Yeah, I was doing my Justin Vernon moment.
Nice.
So almost exactly a year ago, I had a really hard breakup. And before the breakup even happened, I had already had a plan to do this kind of solo, kind of isolated retreat into the woods to kind of like figure some things out with what I wanted with my music, what I've struggled a lot with being I don't know if it's me being a Midwestern boy or being a little bit too empathetic, but I think I ended up like letting a lot of people kind of control what I was doing and kind of dictate what my sound should be. And I never felt like I was being fully honest with what I wanted. And everyone else's defense, I didn't know what I wanted. So those two things combined really made me feel like, what are we doing? Like, I don't feel like I have a real sense of identity when it comes to my project. So that was the whole point of me doing this thing to begin with. So breakup happened, and then it's like, okay, this is the perfect time I just ran away from LA because I was too sad to be here. And so it was the perfect time to just be like, you know what? I'm going to put all of these emotions, all of this grief into this project. And so, yeah, I have a friend, the same friend actually, that was a writer out here when I first moved to LA. He has a trailer out in like the middle of Wisconsin on this little lake and a garage attached to it. And he always had offered it to me like, hey, if you ever need to get away and just, kind of do your thing, like it's available. So I finally took him up on it. And so I set up there, and yeah, that's how it started.
And you kind of documented on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I kind of, because I was isolated, and I still like was, I still saw my friends sometimes. I would go home sometimes, but it was very isolating. And it was that little video camera kind of became my friend. Like it was kind of, it felt a little bit like Wilson in Castaway. And I obviously wanted to capture the process and capture kind of what it takes and what there's this really cool video of Tame Impala, like just BTS stuff of him making Lonerism. And I saw those videos and I was like, okay, that's amazing. But it was like just little clips here and there. Like I was like, what if I just kind of record every day the kind of what the process is like, what I'm emotionally going through, like just kind of try to be as authentic as possible and show people how it really happens. And so that was kind of what I did.
Yeah, I think I mean, God, when you were trying to um get away from just negative things that had happened, probably not feeling your best, that's kind of a bold move, like still sort of vulnerable to share all of that.
Very vulnerable. And I said it several times in videos, like I I'm not I wasn't I'm a vulnerable person to anyone around me, but to like the open internet, you are obviously putting yourself out there. And also I never wanted to get too personal in like the relationship because I wanted to be fair to her, and I never wanted to air out our stuff. So I was trying to like be vulnerable while still being respectful of that. And so yeah, there was many times I was like, I really don't want to talk about this. I don't want to be recording this video, but like I've committed to doing this. And I'm glad that I did, because I think a lot of people, it related with a lot of people. A lot of people felt some of those vulnerabilities that I was experiencing. It made me feel comforted. It made me feel like, okay, I'm not alone. And yeah, just kind of, it's very romantic to go out into the woods and write an album. So many people are like, oh, I'm so jealous, and yeah, it was amazing, but it was also emotionally so difficult, especially in the state that I was in, because I was just out of a really serious relationship and I lost two animals in the breakup. Like it was a very, very hard time for me. So yeah, I just decided I'm just going to do it. I'm going to share this, and I might look back and be like, oh God, why did I do that? But that's okay. Like it was what I was feeling at the time, and I'm a human. So
No, I think it's a gift to put that out there. Then a weird thing with social media is that a lot of people don't comment. Like I'm sure there were a lot of people who were, really encouraged by it and related to it, and you don't even hear from
mhm.
them necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, and I just, again, it was just it was what was happening. Like early on when I was deciding to do this kind of daily vlog type thing, I talked to some friends who I really trust, and I was asking them about like, hey, like, because I was thinking like, obviously I want to do this partial. I want this to like be a story that people can latch onto, and I want to build my community. But I was like, I don't want it to be trendy and authentic. I want it to just be like very real. And they were like, just don't don't think ever, no matter what, don't think what's going to get the most views, what's going to, like, just tell the story honestly and put it out there. And it doesn't matter if it gets 10 likes, 10 comments. That can't be the goal. The goal is to share the story, and that's all you can do. And so that stuck with me early on. And granted, I did slowly become a little bit more aware of like, okay, what kind of videos do perform better? And I talk about it in a video how like that became something I became too aware of, and I wanted to get back to the OG version where I didn't care. And that's a battle, again, any person trying to create art and trying to have a career in the arts can relate to. It's like you want to be authentic, but then you always find yourself going like, how can I maximize the potential of this video? So yeah, I'm trying my best.
Yeah. It started out as 100 videos, right? 100 days.
Yeah. What a joke that was to think I could do it in 100.
I set those kinds of goals for myself all the time, and hey, it gets you somewhere, and then you.
Yeah, it keeps you on it. And then I kind of always knew that it wasn't going to be 100.
Yeah. So did it end up being closer to a year?
Yeah, definitely. I'm still obviously like not done, but the actual kind of, I would say that I finished the demos of this album before I came back out to LA. And so, yeah, just about a year. And there was lots of moments of like me just like I was building that space, that my like Martian suit for several months, and I was doing that like as like this kind of very obvious distraction from the music because I was so overwhelmed and kind of burnt out on working on the same songs over and over and hyper analyzing and all this stuff. But yeah, all in all, a year. And now I am kind of just refining the songs, and yeah, then I'll be in the studio in a couple weeks and actually finishing it, turning it into like a record.
So, and that was the one goal when you started, right? To make a record. And you talk a lot about really finding your voice. And as you said, at times in LA, you felt like you were overly influenced by people you were working with.
Mm-hmm.
Was that mainly it? Like make a record and that voice that felt like what you'd been searching for?
Yeah, I think that my identity was kind of all over the place musically. The other thing was like trying to like learn about myself, which I kind of fell off. I'm sad about, but I'll get back on eventually. But like early, like in the first several months of the process, I was reading a lot of philosophy. I wanted to become a better human throughout this process as well, because I was doing so much reflecting on my relationship and like, okay, what was my baggage? What were my things that I need to really like figure out and learn about myself and grow as a person. So that was also a part of it. I was trying to figure myself out and grieve the relationship, work through it, and kind of come out the other end. And I think it worked for the most part. I still have so much to learn. It's a never ending process, but I do think that doing it the way I did, I was able to really do a lot of reflecting, which I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, I think it can be nice to have the idea of using a creative project as an escape and a way to turn your brain off from other things you're dealing with. But it seems to me that it's actually pretty hard to separate those things. I mean, even if you're not making like an album that you intend to sound really personal, it's coming from a pretty personal place no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. And that's kind of like before the breakup, the album was like the kind of thesis was very different. And then once that happened, it obviously turned into like a very, very breakup-y album. So yeah, it definitely is not something that you can really separate the two. And honestly, I wanted it to be personal. I wanted it to be, about what I was going through. Like it is truly like a snapshot of, I kind of wrote it in two parts. I wrote songs. There's several songs that were started before the process, whether with other writers or by myself, and a lot of like kind of like the pre-breakup songs, the love songs, and then there's the post-breakup. So it's kind of like a part one, part two kind of thing. All of the songs are centered around kind of my experience, and I think that the title track Fascinator is kind of like the culmination of it. Like to me, it's like sums it all up in, I don't know, it's the most like this is what the whole album is about.
Nice. You've got a side A and a side B built in. And
Exactly. I don't know if I'll actually order it that way because I don't want it to be necessarily. I just want the album to flow properly, and I don't know yet what order that will be. But there's a lot of high energy stuff. There's a lot of slow romantic stuff. So I want to make sure that as a listener, you're not losing interest if there's like 3 slow songs in a row or something.
right.
I don't know. I'm going to figure that out.
I love that part of it. I just imagine that's so fun, figuring out the order of songs in an album. And you're
Yeah.
describing this, I was thinking like, oh, well, there's going to be a built-in like emotional arc, like the before breakup, after breakup songs.
Truly.
But I can see how, yeah, there's other things to consider, like just the pace of the album, and maybe they'll go in a different
Yeah.
order.
And I think that no matter what, the emotional arc will be there because the songs really do they relate. There is that common thread flowing between all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the order ends up being because I definitely don't want it to be too sleepy. We'll figure it out.
So could you describe how this process went from first arriving in the Wisconsin woods to work on this project, and what you did to feel like you were finding the voice you were looking for?
Yeah, so I had learned a lot through the years of being in LA that like I was always kind of there was plenty of sessions that were really great and we wrote really great songs and songs that I even, put out like Dandelion Eyes, Lean In. But in general, I always felt like my writing style was far too weird and like indie, I guess, for a lot of things. So I always wanted to just like give myself the opportunity to like really go all in on what I wanted to write and what I thought was best. Cause I think so often I was like, being passive and like, oh yeah, if they think it's good, it must be good. And then not feeling like it was my voice. But yeah, I had the plan and I have a really good friend named Austin. I've gone and worked with him before in Texas, but I met him on YouTube. He's just this genius dude who's incredible producer, incredible everything. He can do it all. We've been buddies for a while and I asked him what it'll take to get this to a place where I can just record everything. And so he gave me the list and I got everything. And then he actually sent me a drum kit that he rebuilt. It's like a 60s Japanese, like they're essentially like Ludwig replicas that were really popular and people still love them today because they sound so good. He sent me the drum kit for free that he just had redone. And then, a couple days before, he flew out to Wisconsin and we prepped everything and then we drove it all up and he helped me set up the studio. And it was really magical. He's such a wonderful man and it really felt like, oh my God, I can finally like kind of allow my inner child to fully be free to like just play with all these pedals and all this stuff. So set it up and then I just, they still sound like demos, but there's a magic to it'll only ever sound like that place that I recorded it. So then I just started playing and pressing record.
Cool. It's funny how we know from like classic albums we love, as fans we get like very familiar with the specific sound of that recording, and you hear other live versions and that's cool too, but that's neat to think about, like, it's going to have this essence of the place where you wrote it and made those demos, and then its sound will also be shaped by the studio where it gets recorded.
And that's the thing is like the reason I'm really excited about the producer that I'm hoping to work with. The contract isn't completely sorted out yet. I don't want to jinx it, but he produces, but he also has a lot of mixing credits. Like a lot of his big stuff is mixing. So we're going to keep so much of what I've already done because there's magic in it. Like there's the essence. Like I don't want to lose the naive sound that I created. So that I'm really excited about because I didn't want to go in and just retrack everything. I like what I've done. I just think that I need to EQ things better. I need to find better space in the mix. But in general, the sound will be comparable. A lot of people won't hear it and be like, he changed everything. They'll hear it and be like, this sounds like what he's posting, just a little bit more balanced, I guess. I actually just thought of this story that I have to tell because it truly like set a tone for this album. So while I was still in LA, I was going to Target or Best Buy to pick up some sort of cord, and I was supposed to turn right, but I was in the wrong lane, so I had to turn left. And so I ended up down this side street. I'm driving down this street in like, I don't know, I was like in Hollywood. And I look over and Kevin Parker is walking down the street with two other people. And I was immediately like, holy I'm driving, he's walking this way and I'm driving this way. So I drive past, I whip my car around and park in a no parking zone, throw it in park, and he's already to the corner at this point. So I scurry across the street and just start like jogging towards him. And then as soon as he sees me, I like stop and start walking casually. And then thankfully the light didn't turn, and I get up to him and I was like, hey, like, you have inspired me more than like, I don't know what to say, but you're the best, and thank you. And we just chatted for a while, and I was telling him, like, I'm actually going to work on this album soon, and a lot of your techniques and the way you did Lonerism have inspired me. I watch all the videos on how you record, and he's like, oh man, don't worry about that. Just plug it in and go for it. And him saying that to me, obviously to him, it's like, yeah, that's like, just go for it. Like, but to me, that has been like such a huge part of this whole process. Just go for it. Don't worry about it sounding pristine. Don't worry about what's correct. And so that's kind of like how I want the album to sound, because it is my first album. It is me recording it mostly by myself in this little makeshift studio. So that interaction in that moment really had an impact on how I approached doing this.
It makes sense that it would be more about capturing a certain energy, right, than like worrying too much about production value
Exactly.
stuff.
It's about capturing the emotion and the feeling, and I think that's what more than ever people are hungry for. There's so much polished, perfect sounds out there, and of course there's plenty of people doing what I do and doing like more, indie kind of rough around the edges stuff. But I think in general, people want something a little bit more grounded. At least that's what I'm always kind of looking for when I'm trying to discover new music.
Yeah.
It's things that just feel very grounded and human. I think music has started, especially now with AI bands, music has started to feel less and less human and too perfect. And I want to kind of be a part of this next wave of people, of artists that really commits to the realness of playing and just being okay with naive sounding records.
Yeah, but wow, bumping into Kevin Parker. I mean, I
wouldn't call it a bump in. I would call it a chase down the street, but yes.
I'm usually not very woo-woo, but yeah, you missed your turn and that fate was guiding you.
And like there's literally him or Alex Turner are like the only people that I would do that for. And because it's LA, you see famous people all the time. And it took no time to decide, oh my God, I must go. This could be my only time of ever, having a chance to just talk to the man.
Yeah. The fact that he sort of famously creates so much of his music on his own, right?
And he really tricked me into thinking I could do it all on my own, because he's a genius. And let me tell you, I am not Kevin Parker. So I learned very quickly, like, oh, you aren't him. You don't have a lot of the things. And you know what? I've accepted it. But yeah, he inspired me a lot. But it's like, oh God, this man is in another dimension of creative and skilled. He was so nice too. He was like, we talked for a couple minutes. It wasn't just like he was asking me questions, and
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those run-ins where you're like disappointed. You're like, oh, they were kind of a dick. And I felt like they didn't want to talk to me. Like he
Right.
was really kind, which,
It's awesome.
yeah,
Sometimes
thank
it's
God.
okay to meet your heroes.
Yes, sometimes it's okay if it's Kevin.
um, I love that you mentioned Alex Turner too.
He's the best writer of all time.
Ugh. Um, I remember my brother one time, we were listening to Alex Turner's cover of which Tame Impala song did he do? Feels Like We Only Go
Feels
Backwards.
like what? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my brother was like, I just wouldn't want Alex Turner to ever cover any of my music because he'd do it so much better, and I'd be stuck having to live with that.
You're not wrong. He is my a bit of like kind of my hero when it comes to every song that I write. I just am trying to be a sliver of as good as he is in his lyricism and his storytelling. It's just he is truly incredible when you really like there's songs now that I've listened to hundreds of times and I'll catch a line that I'll be like, "Oh, that's what that means." Like his writing is so clever and sometimes so there's so much substance that sometimes you don't even realize something until hundreds of listens later. There's no one I admire more as a songwriter than him, and you can hear it if you listen to my lyrics. And I'm just, yeah, very much trying to create that same level of cheekiness, and it's just what I like.
Yeah. I'm kind of a lyrics first person, and yeah, there are different lyrics from him that I've thought like it's almost like going simpler, but capturing an idea is the way to go. Like, I think it's a Last Shadow Puppet song. He has a line that says, what is it? Love like feels like a ache in the jaw or something. And I somehow it felt like somebody must have said that already. It feels kind of obvious, but then
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just thought it was great because it's like, well, I've never been punched in the jaw. That seems like more of the illusion he'd be going for. But if you are sick, you have an achy jaw, it's such a like hard to pin down pain.
And it's something it's tangible.
Yeah.
I think the balance that he captures, or at least my interpretation, is like finding the balance between those really tangible things, and he uses so much of idiom speak in his writing. So like if you listen to obviously their biggest song ever, Do I Want to Know? The first verse is idiom after idiom. Have you got summits in your teeth? You ever get the feel that you can't shift the tides? What's the first line? Have you got color in your cheeks? What is that? Like, that's an idiom. Like, it's like
Yeah.
describing someone like, oh, are they alive, dead? I don't know what the idiom even means.
Right.
Summits in your teeth, aces up your sleeve, you're in deep. Every night this week. How many secrets there's this tuna fella that makes you think he's played RP. It's just so full of idioms and like sayings that, and I literally have like, I don't go anywhere without, oh wait, hold on 2 seconds. There's this book I'm constantly sifting through. So like this one is So to Speak. This has like literally anything you can think of, and it's categorized by like this one's body. So there's stuff like toe the line, keep you on your toes, bad blood between them, blood in the water, blood, sweat, and tears. Just things that you use in everyday language, but it's known what it means, but it's a little bit more poetic than saying like, oh, I was sad. It's like, or I was, let's see, take a knee, knock knee. There's some really, I'm just pulling your leg. Like that's just like, instead of just saying like, oh, I was kidding you. I didn't mean it. Oh, I was just pulling your leg. That's so much cooler.
I think it's good when you tap into like what regional vibe you're going for. You know, some bands are
Yeah,
really Alex Turner. There's of course sort of a working class British vibe about it. Sometimes like
totally.
Southern bands are really good at bringing that kind of language to the forefront.
Yeah, if I were to say a lot of don't you knows in my songs, oh God, yeah, that's like a
bring
I could certainly bring the Wisconsin Midwestern sound. I'm sure there is some of that. There has to be. But yeah, I mean, I definitely try to write. Like, there's this line that I love so much that feels very much like the thing I'm going for. It's like, your love is like an elbow from the ropes aimed for my throat. Like, it's just really visual. Like, you hurt me with your love.
Yeah, you're right. The visual part of that really is what makes it powerful. Makes you immediately feel like, oh, I know exactly the feeling he's talking about.
Oh man. That's why I am a slave to my words. I spend so much time and energy trying to make them, and the getting alliteration right. Like, that's another thing that Alex does so well, is like, I always use this as an example. Why do people love the line? Why in 505 are they obsessed with "I crumble completely when you cry"? So he has internal rhyme, he has alliteration, and let's see, internal rhyme, alliteration. Well, and it's just a good, like, it just is very conversational. So I crumble completely, cry, all C's,
Yeah.
and crumble completely, internal rhyme, both ka. It's like, people don't realize why that's so good until you like analyze it. It's like, oh, that's why this is so good to sing, because there's so much craft in it.
You're right. Blowing my mind. I love that song, obviously. And there's sort of like melodically, it builds to that moment. So that's always what I focused on.
It's perfect.
But you're
It's
right. There's so much about the lyrics.
It's obviously it's the big moment before the big section, but like, the crafting of that line, it's so conversational, but it's so perfectly crafted so that it sings well. It has all these little bits that people don't think about, which is how you want it. Like, you just want it to feel good, and they don't know why.
You don't want somebody to be too focused. You're obviously, since you create in the same way, you're analyzing what makes it work so well. But most of us, we get to just enjoy it and not even realize how much work probably went in that.
And maybe he's like, I will say, after you've been pursuing that style of writing for a while, it does become more natural to always have alliteration, to always be finding internal rhymes. Like, you are so hyper aware of it. I would imagine he's just that. I picture him just be like, and I crumble completely. Like, him just writing it casually, but maybe he did, maybe he does think a lot about his words. He has to, with how incredible the writing is. Who knows?
Yeah, for the rest. Yeah, I think when you're starting out a new art form, it can feel really depressing and daunting when you don't feel like the genius is pouring forth like you want. But I think you're right about the fact that the more you do it, it starts to become more natural. And there's probably just something about confidence and believing that you're going to come up with something good that makes it happen.
I think, unfortunately, it never, like, even if you are getting better, it still never feels easier, because you're always chasing the best song. Like, you're never not trying to write the best song. So no matter how much skill you've acquired and how much time you've spent doing it, you never fully feel like you're the writer you want to be. And I think that's why you end up like getting to a place where people respect your work and you have success, whatever. But like, you personally, I don't know if you ever really get there. Like, there's songs that I love that I'm really proud of, but that I'm not content. Like, I still want to continue to write better songs. It's completely, I'm the beholder. But yeah, for as much as a better songwriter I am now than I was 5 years ago, I still feel kind of the same. Like, wanting to be better and wanting to be writing an even better song and doing it in a quicker time, doing it more this, that. Like, I think that's kind of part of the DNA of like a lot of creatives. I think that's what keeps us going and what keeps us doing what we do. Otherwise, I think if you didn't have that drive, I think that's when the art suffers, I imagine.
And that, like, always chasing the perfect thing, it depends on how you approach that. Probably it could make you very unhappy, but in another way, I guess as long as you're able to, on some level, celebrate little successes, it keeps you enjoying what you do.
it's a challenge, and I love the challenge, and I love the process, and it's so fun to chase. Like, I think that, you know, my mom always said that I am not a, what would she call it? I'm not a settled person, because I'm always like chasing something, but it's not necessarily the product of what I'm chasing. It's how fun it is to do the chasing. It keeps me excited. It keeps me engaged. It keeps me, inspired. Like, I'm always inspired by things. I'll hear something and I'll write it down and I'll be like, oh God, I can't wait to write a song about this. The process is wonderful, even though it's always difficult. And I think it's, as long as you don't put all of your happiness in that basket. I have so many other joys in my life. I have friendships. I have my family. I have nature. I have F1. I have so many other things that bring me joy. So I'm okay with having this part of my life have that level of challenge, because I find balance in that, and also, yeah, just in other parts of my life.
That point makes me think about something you said earlier, which is that, like, with previous things you've worked on, you had a bit of a feeling of like, well, if this person I'm working with is saying it's good enough or this is the right sound, then you went with that. But maybe now you're feeling like you wanted something different from it. Like, it must be very hard to ever, you're the only one who can really decide when it's done officially or when it's right. And how do you really even do that?
Yeah, that's really difficult. Kevin Parker always said this, like, they're never done. Like, I could work on them forever.
Yeah.
Because you want them to be perfect. But I think I finally came to terms with, I took things as far as I could go without losing my mind. I think I was starting to lose my mind towards the end of it, and that was me like, okay, you've done your job, you've found the sound, you have written stories that you love and that are honest. Now you need to accept that you need help. You need a soundboard. You need other people to have input, because when you're so close to something for so long, you lose all clarity. So even when I was trying to continue to finesse and edit and all this, like, am I actually helping or am I hurting? Like, I don't know. So I decided, okay, it's time. And yeah, that was me essentially like saying, I can accept that these are close to done. And now that I'll be working with a producer, then he will very much be like, we'll both obviously decide, but like, I am putting a lot of trust in like who I'm working with to help know that answer, like when it feels right. And I have done so much of the work already, so it's not like we're starting at 10%, like we're starting at like 85, 90% on most songs. I think the other thing is, like, I'm always evolving as an artist. I'm always afraid of like creating things and then them not getting out before I'm already working on something like a different sound or a different this or that. If I tinker too long, I'm going to end up just hating everything and not wanting to put it out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of trying to find that sweet spot of like, I still love it, and I have people around me who are like, okay, let's get this across the line so we can put it out.
Yeah. Well, of course, the name of this podcast is Uncool because there's a lot of parts of the creative process that can feel uncool while you're in the.
Oh, so much of it is uncool.
Is it feeling better now at this stage, or does it just ebb and flow, like those doubts?
It's ebbs and flows. There's so many. Oh my God, the self-doubt waves are just, they're monster. They're like Nazari in Portugal. Like, anyone creative can relate. I know that it's so universal. No matter how good you are, no matter how much success you have, when you get hit by those waves, you get just battered. And it ebbs and flows. It's part of doing what we do. And every time I'm in it, I'm like, oh God, I'm questioning everything. I'm like, am I even good enough to do this? Like, will people actually listen? All the things. And then I do eventually get to a place where either I talk to someone, which is definitely the best way to do it, or I just like kind of wade through it until I come out the other end. And it's just no matter what you do in life, that's part of life. It doesn't matter if you're creative or if you work for a corporation it doesn't matter. Everyone has those things. So I just try to be aware of when it's happening and try to be kind to myself. But yeah, it's hard. It's definitely very hard.
It sounds cheesy, but like the sticking with it is the impressive things to
Oh,
feel.
totally. And that is very, I don't know, like it is my nature of when I commit to something, I am like 200% it. And I don't know where it comes from. I can't say I'm like this super strong-minded person. It's just like the way I am. I don't know how else to do things. Like I am committed. So when I committed to being a musician 10 years ago, however long I've been doing this, here I am. I'm still working through those moments of like, am I good enough? Will people actually give a shit? And that's not even what it's about, but I would like to have some stability like anyone else. That is part of it.
It's that persistence is a good trait to have. And yeah, the inspiration for Uncool, as the podcast title, is that line in Almost Famous that Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, Lester Bangs, says
So what's the line?
The only true currency in this bankrupt world is what you share with someone else when you're uncool.
Oh my God, Philip, what a legend. I just watched it too, like a couple months ago. It's one of the greatest movies ever, especially for people in the arts. It's good. That's a really cool story to name your podcast after. Like that's I love that.
Thank you.
And I also I personally feel so uncool, and I think that I choose the most uncool objectively. Like all of my best friends, I consider not cool, which makes them cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're so Walt wouldn't mind me saying this, but like he is so nerdy and like just the furthest from definition of what people think is objectively cool, and that makes him the coolest fucking guy ever.
I think musicians can be a little bit like comedians, right? Like often it seems like you didn't fit in at a younger age and like turned to the arts for that reason. And as you said, there's like a strange, weird thing that happens when you get on stages or hold guitars or whatever, and it somehow imbues more coolness. But I think that's just figuring something out that a lot of people realize with age, that like the striving to be cool is not cool at all. Actually,
not at all. Like Alex Turner, I think, is kind of the epitome of cool. He's got the look. He seemed like so suave, doesn't give a fuck about anything. Like he's just literally the coolest dude ever. But like, I think he's actually still that nerdy kid.
He's really awkward in interviews.
Yeah. Like I think he's still that thing, and it's like, okay, I thought for a while when I was trying to figure myself, I was like, oh, maybe I have to be this suave thing. It's like, no, like. One, I can't. I mean, I'm incapable of being cool. And two, even the people that you think are embodying that's just a facade. That was like a visual identity. It's not an actual internal reflection of who they are, because I don't think he would be successful if he was actually the cool guy. He's not like most of the greats are not cool.
Yeah.
Like Damon Albarn. I don't even know how to say his last name. So nerdy, so like just a weird dude. Like, I just think, yeah. Cool is almost to me like it's almost like to compensate for something. Like it's like you have to lean on the cool, which I'm incapable because I'm just really not cool. And I've learned to love that about myself. And I used to be so like, oh, I want to be cool. I'm not cool enough. Like from School of Rock. And now I realize that kid was the coolest one.
It's the thing we figure out, that the people that sort of seemed cool, you kind of quickly break through that facade and are like, oh, it's kind of embarrassing how hard you're trying.
Yeah.
And
right. Oh man. And that was kind of the whole point of the video thing, like doing these 100 days. It's like, I wanted to break it down for myself and publicly, like, people to see how uncool I am. And for me to be okay with that, because I think I was always kind of battling with like, oh, like with the music I make, like, I feel like there's a certain image that, I look at the Julian Casablancas and Alex Turner's, and I'm like, they are so cool. And no, they're super fucking weird. Julian is the weirdest dude ever. And I just needed to put that wall down and just be like, you know what? People think whatever they think of me, but I need to just embrace it and not try to put myself in any sort of box. Just like, this is who I am.
I think you're on the right track because those Instagram videos, I mean, it would be very easy to just assume like, oh, clearly this is a supremely confident guy because he's just totally comfortable sharing all of this stuff. It seems very cool to me.
Well, thank you.
It's important to share that, I think, because so many people here were sort of focused on creative pursuits, but as you said earlier, whether you've got a corporate job or whatever, it is very easy to just get so hung up on what other people think of you and miss out on things and not go for the things you want because you're afraid of that.
Yeah, and I think that, like you said, it does so much come with age. Like, we've all done we've all tried to do that, and you only learn through trying that it's not who you are. It's like actually does the opposite of making you look or feel cool. It makes you feel like a fraud. Like,
Yeah.
it's very much, you just have to go through it to learn. And so I definitely, and I'm still learning. Like, I'll look back, another 10 years from now and be like, oh man, you thought you knew and you were, and that's how life works.
That's it. Well, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, this summer is when you're finishing up polishing this record, right? And going to be back in the studio with it?
Yep.
That's exciting.
So, I mean, fingers crossed, you're the only person that I'm telling this to, but I'm granted the contract, everything is sorted out. I'm supposed to go on start the 25th.
Nice.
And then, so I wish I could tell people like, oh, you'll have it, it'll be out as soon as it's done, and it doesn't work that way.
Sure.
And also, releasing albums in like the fall, winter is just not, the industry kind of shuts down halfway through November. So I wish I could just put it out right away, but I think there is a level of strategy that needs to happen so I can make sure that it sits well in the stupid world of streaming and all that.
Right. Well, it could be the summer album of 2026 is what you're telling me.
I like that. And I want all of next year to just be tour. Like, I want to do shows
Nice.
literally all of next year. That's my goal, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can with my team to make that happen because it's time. And it's the music I have never been more excited to play. It's got everything I love.
That's awesome. I think you mentioned the title track earlier. Is that public knowledge?
I think I've said it in some videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Fascinator, which is actually a hat, but I always thought that is way too incredible of a word to only be for a hat. So I wanted to describe a person that way. And I think that everyone should. It's such like, she's a real fascinator. Like, incredible word. Why are we not using it? And I feel like it really kind of sums up the album. And I'm really excited. It's the song that started all of this.
Can you tell us anything about the album?
I mean, you've seen the videos. You're seeing, that's pretty much like, you're getting a real insight into the vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very gritty. It's very guitar driven, like rock with, yeah, all kinds of flavors. I'm discovering things that like I didn't realize would happen. Like this one song called Flowers Turn to You started like, it gave me this really nostalgic, like late 90s, early 2000s rock vibe. I didn't know that. I wasn't going for that. It just kind of happened. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. So yeah, you'll hear all kinds of stuff, but yes, definitely it sounds like a band. So like I want to be able to play everything live and have it sound like the record without, having 10 layers of backing tracks and stuff like that. I'm just so excited. I finally feel like I'm blossoming as like what I'm meant to be. Like this feels like the real beginning of my career, which sounds crazy because I've been doing it for a while, but I think that I needed to go through all of that to get here.
That's so exciting.
I don't regret any of it.
That's awesome. Well, you are active on Instagram. Follow you at Patrick. Stay up to date
Yep.
on what's coming.
Yep.
Check you out on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming platforms. What would you recommend?
I mean, you could go on TikTok. I'm not as active on there.
That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I see these artists who do these like old website things that are really cool, and I'll maybe do that once I have, when I'm doing it for more than like my mom. My mom would be the only one using it. But yeah, I mean, those are good places to start, and we'll grow the community. You can join the Martians on Instagram, which is like
yeah.
I don't even know what you call it.
Those like group chat.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
on there.
I'll be out. You'll see me. I'll make sure that everyone knows when things are happening. I've been kind of bad about posting since I've been back in LA because I've just been so all over the place. There's zero routine happening. So I'm struggling to keep up. Once I get in the studio and once I'm kind of like in a routine, I'll be back to sharing every day.
Awesome.
So I really appreciate you having me. This is really fun. You are so delightful. And yeah, I hope that this can be like a cool, like, oh, the first ever podcast. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm so touched.
I hope that it can be a big deal someday.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it's not already, but like, you know what I mean.
Oh, I do. Like I said, this album will be out hopefully within a year, and you're going to be touring everywhere. And yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We should probably just do it again, next spring or something on the brink of all of that.
Deal.
So it's been so fun talking to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. We'll talk soon, all right?
Okay. Bye.
Having me. Bye.
Thanks, Patrick.